Hi, Faggy.
Hi, Ernie. How are you? Mazel tov.
Thank
Nazo,
you.
hi, Faggy. I didn't see you last time because I was late. Refuah Shaloma.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mazel tov to you.
Thank you.
How's the baby?
Baruch Hashem. Thank
Yeah.
God. Thank God. Yeah.
Everybody's doing well. Baruch Hashem.
Thank God. Thank God. How are you feeling?
Better. Really, I'm doing physical therapy 3 times a week. It really helps. Yeah.
There's still pain, right? Because
What?
it hurts, right?
It hurts when I put weight on it, but it's getting better.
Thank God.
Getting better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any news about Suri Kest? Is she sitting Shiva here or staying in Israel?
I didn't see it. I looked for it.
We haven't gotten any information about
I
that.
looked for it
They don't even have her phone number.
because I looked for it on the Hillies and the whatever was in the emails or whatever.
Ellen said that she was supposed to go to Israel anyway for Pesach, but I guess I don't know where they're all sitting. Her brother and her sister and brother.
They can give you her number so we can at least text
I think I have Suri's cell number.
her.
What?
Can you share it with us?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I have his phone.
No. You
Mazel tov, Ernie and Susie.
Thank you, Bernie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I have my. Hold on, I don't have his mobile.
Yeah, I think I saw Avi today. I thought I saw Avi
Yeah,
at the basketball.
Faggy, we saw Avi at the Hamilton gym where our granddaughter was playing.
Oh, who was playing?
I don't
It
know.
must have
There were a
been
lot
one of it.
people,
There's
so
so many young people.
Wait, how old is your granddaughter?
She's 10.
10.
10. So it's Sam, his son. His
Yeah,
son,
he
yeah.
was there. And,
So Maimo was playing Hillel?
No, but it was a girl's.
Oh, Yavne.
girls.
No. When did I see him? Do we see
This
him?
is Shoshana's Meital. She's 10.
No.
So
So it was yeah.
it was Yavne playing Maimo?
No, it's mixed teams.
Oh, mixed teams.
Teams are all mixed.
Yeah. So I shared the contact with you, Susie.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's Suri's cell phone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where are we holding, Ernie?
We are on Shmuel Beis,
Yeah.
Perek Gimel, Pasuk Chaf Aleph.
Wait, maybe you want to wait a minute longer?
Yeah,
or
we
no?
can wait another minute.
Page 218, Harold.
Oh, good. Thank you. Oh.
Probably, Matt, take a look
No,
at that
this
one.
is
Yeah, take a look at that. That's probably what they're talking about.
218 and this one.
Yeah. Probably. So last week, Avner, who was Melech Shaul's general, got upset with Shaul's son Ishbosheth. Initially, Avner set Ishbosheth up as the king of the other 10 tribes. But Avner lost faith in Ishbosheth. If you remember, Ishbosheth accused him of sleeping with one of Shaul HaMelech's wives. When we discussed, was it true, was it not true? But either way, Avner immediately switched sides, began to help David HaMelech. And we just read that Avner came with 20 of his retinue to visit in Hebron with David HaMelech. And now Avner has promised to David to bring the rest of Klal Yisrael into line under the Malchus of Beis David. And so Pasuk Chafal Vayomer Avner el David. Akuma ve'elecha, I will get up and will go. Ve'ek betzal Adonai HaMelech et kol Yisrael. I will gather for you all of Klal Yisrael. Vayichretu itcha brit. They will make a covenant with you. Umalachta b'chol asher taveh nafshecha. You will rule over everything that your heart desires. Vaishlach David et Avner, vayelech bishalom. Now, how the Tanakh refers when somebody leaves somebody else? Do they say vayelech lishalom, or they say vayelech bishalom? We're going to see whenever the Medrash Tanchuma says, Kol misha kasuv bo lishalom, holech v'chozer. He will go in peace, he'll come back in peace. Kol misha yichtav bo lech bishalom, holech v'eino chozer. That greeting, or the opposite of greeting, when you send somebody off, you should say lech lishalom, not lech bishalom.
We just hit it at the siyum at the end of one of the Gemaras. Remember?
Yeah, I think you're correct. Because we're going to see Avner was sent bishalom, halach v'lo chazer. Aval Yitro amar leMoshe lech lishalom. Right? In Shmuel, Vayom Yitro leMoshe lech lishalom. And he came back. We're going to see later on by Avshalom. There also a greeting is given to him, lech bishalom. And of course, we know what happened to Avshalom as well. So,
Also by Avram Avinu, when God said, Bishalom, even you will lie with, right?
well, hang on.
With your,
Right now, we're saying if in a live person,
right.
when you take your leave of a live person, you should say lech lishalom, go to peace. You shouldn't say go in lech bishalom. You should go in peace. And the Ritva in Moed Katan explains, Haniftar mechavero al yomar lo lech bishalom, ela lech lishalom. Perush. Lefi shechaver tzarich tefila ala makom shoylech sham. The person is going to some place that he doesn't know. He needs a tefillah that's going to protect him there. Listen, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm in peace in Los Angeles. I'm going to go now to Timbuktu. I need to be given a blessing that it'll be peace when I arrive in Timbuktu. I'm fine here, says the Ritva. Now, what Bernie was vaniftar min ameis hu behefech. It's the opposite when you take your leave of a deceased person.
Sorry, I didn't mean to preempt you.
Sorry. No, ki tzarech sheyelech mikan bishalom. Va'az yimatzeh shalom sham bevadai. If the mace is bishalom here, he's going to be bishalom there. Im eino holech mikan bishalom, she'ein biado masim tavim. If, for example, the mace doesn't have good deeds that gives him a state of peace, so then ein biado lo yimatzeh sham shalom. He's not going to find peace there. Lefichach tzarich she'asu lo siman tov ki bishalom hu olech. Now, it's only when you take leave, the Derech Emunah says, it's only when you're leaving somebody. But at other places, they're not makbid so much. For example, by Bikurim, there the Gemara says, Boachem b'shalom. Everybody's welcomed in peace. And what Avram Avinu, what Bernie was referring to is, when you say Lech b'shalom, it's a hint about Misa, because ve'ata tavo lavotecha bishalom. So when we leave each other, we should say lech lishalom, not lech bishalom. We learn it from Avner. We learn it from this mice of David and Avner. So last few weeks, we've learned a lot of halacha. In a lot of halachas learned from basic Navi. Pasuk Chav Beis v'nei avdei David. V'Yoav ba me'agdud. So Avner's on his way. Meanwhile, the other soldiers of David and Yoav, David's general, remember Avner had killed Yoav's brother Asael. V'shalal ravimam, and they have a lot of booty. V'Avner enenu im David b'Chevron. Avner is not there anymore. Ki shilcho vayelech b'shalom. He was already sent, and he went b'shalom. Chav Gimel, the Yoav v'chol hatzavar asher itobau. Yoav have left with his army. Excuse me. Yoav and his army have now arrived in Hebron. Vayagidu leYoav lemor ba'avner ben ner lamelech v'yishlacha v'elch b'shalom. Yoav is told, you know what? While you were gone, Avner and his people came, and David HaMelech treated him very well and sent him in peace, didn't cause him any problem. Pasuk Chavdalu. Vayavo Yoav el HaMelech. Vayomer me'asita. Yoav complains to David HaMelech, what did you do? Hinei ba'avner elech, lama zeh shilachti vayelech halach. Why did you let him go in peace? Remember, Yoav hates Avner because he killed Asel, his brother. And Avner as well prevented Shaul from making peace with David. So Avner had a lot of problems. Yoav had a lot of problems with Avner. Now, it sounds a little chutzpahzik. It's not covered to the Melech for Yoav to sort of take him to task for this. We've already learned Melech shemochel al kvoda ein kvoda mochel. And Melech can't be moichel on his covet. So why is David doing this? Says the Iyeh Hayam. David savar dayal tzorech hamalchus kedei la'aged kol haklal yachdav. What was Avner doing? Avner was now leaving Ishboshet, bringing the other 10 tribes to David HaMelech. Avner is helping David unify the nation. So he's allowed to be moichel on his covenant for this purpose. Chafei, Yadata et Avner ben Ner. Yoav continues his diatribe. You know Avner. He's coming to fool you. He's spying you out. Your comings and goings at He's a spy. He's doing this not in good faith. Vayetze Yoav me'im David. Vayishlach malachim achrei Avner. Yoav leaves David and is chasing after Avner. He sends messengers to Avner. Vayashivu oto mi bor hasira. He found him at a place called Bor Sira. V'David lo yada. Now, this Bor Sira is more than we've bargained for. The Gemara in Sanhedrin Memtes. Vayetze Yoav vayashivu oto mi Bor Asira. My Bor Asira. Amar Rav Bar Kahana Bor v'Sira garmu lo la'avner sheyeh hareg. The words Bor and Sira are the remez to us why Avner deserved to be killed. And Rashi explains by Bor. Hutzapachas tzluchisa mayim shelokach David mimrashusav shel Shaul biyachad imachanid. If you remember that Shaul was encamped with Avner at night, David HaMelech and his people snuck in, and rather than kill Shaul, they just took a flask of water and his spear, and then later on, David called out to Shaul and said, look, I got your spear. Who's been protecting you? Right? Says Rashi, Kishaya yashan b'toch ha'ma'agal. When Shaul was sleeping in the circle of V'cholam yishenim svivo, and the rest of them were around him, Ula'achar mikein kara lehem David merachok, David called from afar, V'amar b'nei mavas atem. All of you deserve to be capital punishment. Shelo shmartem al adonechem. You didn't watch Melech Shaul good enough. She'inei ru'u. Look, shayiti kol kach karov elav. I was so close to him. Shlakachti b'meni et hachanit v'et hatzapachat v'ayiti yachol hargo. I could have killed him. Now, Haya yachol az Avner limchot b'Shaul v'loy marlo. Avner at that time could have told Shaul, look, re'ei kamat tzadik hu David shelo harag otcha. Avner could have stood up for David and told Shaul, look, you should forgive David. He was close to you, he didn't kill you. But v'lo asa came. Just the opposite. Ela amar lo sheDavid lo lakach et hachanit v'tzapachet ela shema acher b'nei hatzava not namlo. He gave an eitzah to show that somebody else took it, not David. The Radak says Avner said to show that one of the Na'arim forgot to take the flask. The chanit babor. So that's the bor refers to the way the Radak learns that they forgot the chanit there, or Rashi says it's the tzapichit hamayim. Now, how does Rashi explain sira? Coats. It's a thorn. Kishikoras David is knaf milo shel shol b'mara. Another time, David HaMelech was hiding in a cave, and Shaul, right, went into the cave to go to the bathroom, and David HaMelech cut off the corner of Shaul's garment, and then later on said, "Look, Shaul, I cut off your garment. I was so close to you, but I didn't kill you." David v'loimer l'Shaul. Look, Avner should have told Shaul that David is a tzaddik, but v'lo li meitzchus. He said just the opposite. Shema kishavarte meitzlakotzim vasirim nichlas echa ben hakotzim b'gnaf. He told Shaul, "Oh, when you were walking by the thorn bushes, your coat must have been cut by the thorn." So the pasuk here is a very poetic pasuk. No, bor v'sira refers to the two things that David HaMelech saved Shaul's life. Avner could have reconciled David with Shaul when Shaul was alive, and he didn't do it. Now, there's a Gemara in Yerushalmi. Peya, Daf Aleph Amud Aleph. Daf Aleph Amud Aleph. Avner lama neherag, says the Gemara. Why was Avner killed? Reish Lakish, Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Reish Lakish Rabbon. Rav Yeshua ben Levi Omer, al sha'asa daman shel na'arim schok. When Avner suggested that the young people should wrestle, and then they ended up killing themselves, he made Jewish blood cheap. They should get up and wrestle. So that's why, according to Shmuel Levi, why Avner was killed. Reish Lakish Omar al shehigdim Shmuel l'Shmo David. Right? When he sent a letter to David, Vayishlach Avner malachim el David tachtav lemor lemi aretz min Avner leDavid. Right? We learned that last week, that he should have put his name on the bottom and David's on the top. That's how Reish Lakish learns. That's why Avner deserved Misa. The Rabbanon say that Avner died because he didn't allow David and Shaul to reconcile, because of the story of the corner of the garment, and because of the chanit and the tzapachat, the sira, the bor, and the sira. Yesh omrim, he did not protest to Shaul when Shaul wanted to kill out Novi Kohanim. Now you notice they don't mention anything about Avner killing Asael. Remember, even though our analysis was that if you can kill somebody be'echad me'evarov, if you can wound somebody, you're viewed as the killer if you kill him. So the answer to why Asael is not a reason for Avner's death, because remember, Avner beseeched Asael to go away. Twice, 3 times. Yoav didn't know of the discussion that Avner had with Asael to try to get rid of him. So Yoav thought him as a complete Rotzeach. But he wasn't viewed that way by Chazal. Because in the Gemara there, it doesn't mention killing Asael as a reason why now Avner is going to die. Okay. No, I'm going to look at this here for a minute. Okay. Pasuk Chav Zayin. Vayoshev Avner Chevron. So Avner turns back towards Chevron. Vayateu Yoav el toch hashar. Yoav brings him to the gate. That's Pashut Pshat. Chazal are going to darshan that what he did is he opened up a Sanhedrin, a Beis Din. Like it says in Parsha Shoftim that the Shoftim sit in the shar, sit in the gate of every city. Lidaber ito basheli. Vayakeu sham achoymesh. The same way Avner killed Asael in the 5th rib by the liver, Vayamas bedam Asal achiv. He killed him as the way Asael had been killed. What is this bishali? So it's a continuation of the Gemara that we just learned. On Rav Yochanan, Shadanu din Sanhedrin, and Rashi brings that. Like when it says El Ziknei Irov El Shar Mekomo, the Zikanim sit in the gate. The word Shar is Lashon Sanhedrin. Now, what was the din here? So Amar Lei, Yoav said to Avner, "My time at Katle Lasoil. Why did you kill Asael?" So he answered, Asael roy defaya. Asael was chasing after me to kill me. If you have a roid, if you're allowed to kill him. Says Yoav, you should have wounded him. So Avner answered, Lo yachilile. I couldn't. I had no choice. However, Yoav responds, Hashta bedoifen chamishis kivnetle. What do you mean? You sent your spear right at the 5th rib. You knew exactly. You couldn't have wounded him in the leg? So that's the way Rav Yochanan learns what they did in the Sanhedrin there. What is this basheli? Armi v'amarav al iske shalo. Like Rashi says, shal na'alecha me'al raglecha. Remove the shoes from your feet. Yevam agidmas hech choyletzes. That Yoav started having a halachic discussion with Avner. We know that if Reuven and Shimon are brothers, Reuven dies without children. Shimon is miyabim, the wife of Reuven. Now, the Yavama, if he has a choice, he can live with her and make him his wife, or he can give her chlitza. Chlitza is when the shoe is removed. Now, what if the person doesn't have a leg? Hey choletzes. He does it, she does it with her teeth. Now, while Avner was showing him this, who shalav charbo v'hargo? He took advantage and killed him at that time. That's the concept of bashali, because shal na'alecha ma'raglecha. Pasuk Chav Ches.
Ernie, he was actually asking him to darshan he was sitting in the Sanhedrin quarters there, asking him to darshan the halacha about, at least that's what the Me'amlo is, somebody who's an amputee in the leg. What do you do with shal na'alecha
Right.
if you need a chalitza?
Yeah,
So,
she does it with her teeth.
so
Who was doing who?
He bent down. Umareu kachi choletzes b'shinea. The chlitzes, because
the
normally
tie with her between the teeth.
the woman is an amputee, doesn't have hands. So normally the woman goes to the brother who's going to do yibum and takes off his shoe. That's the chlitzah. But the woman doesn't have any hands. So how is she going to do the chlitzah? So
With the teeth.
Avner went down on the ground and showed that you do it with your teeth. While he was bent over like that, Yoav stocked him.
Give me a tissue, please. I don't under-
I'm just going to bring the Musar Nevi'im. The Rambam Hilchos Rotzeach. Kol hayachol lahatzil be'ever me'ivarav v'lo torach b'kach elahitzel b'nafshe shalodei v'harga reza shofech dam v'chayv misa. The Rambam paskins very clearly that somebody is chasing you and you have the ability to wound him and you don't wound him and you kill him, you're chayv misa. Aval, says the Rambam, ain't based in a misnoso. You're chayv misa, but this is not something that Bezdin actually carries out capital punishment. Hashem ends up killing him. Misa b'dei shamayim. Ve'atam hu b'nei deles be'asra v'lakibel alav asra machrei shem miskavin l'hatzil satzmo. For Bezdin to commit to kill, to execute somebody with capital punishment, you need Adim to give hasra, warning. And the person has to be makabel hasra, meaning, you know that if you do this, this and this is going to happen to you. And the person toch kedei dibra has to say, yeah, I know. If I do this, this and this will happen to me. Now, obviously, somebody who's being chased with his life doesn't have the time for hasra and all that. So that's how the Rambam explains, this will never come to Bezdin for Bezdin to execute the person, because there's lack of hasra. So the Ravid asks Akash on the Rambam there, what's going on? I hear Yoav is bringing Avner Bedin Sanhedrin and killed him. Because he killed Asoil, because he could have saved him by wounding him. So you see, that's not like the Rambam says the Ravid, that somebody who killed somebody and could have saved him is actually put to death by Bezdin. So the Mishnah Lamelech, Shiny Yoav Shai Goel Adam Dasail. Yoav was a relative. And if the relative kills, then he ain't lo damim. But the Rambam is correct regarding that Bezdin doesn't do capital punishment in that case if you kill a rodef. We know also that Avner really didn't want to kill him. He tried to get him away. Pasuk Chavches. Now, by Shema David Machrechen, Vayomer Naki Anochi Umamlachti Me'im Hashem Adulam Midmei Avner B'ner. David is furious. He immediately says that I had nothing to do with this. This was not done at my command. And therefore, Chavtes, Yachulu Arosh Yoav, the El Kol Beit Aviv. He's now going to curse Yoav. Should start on the head of Yoav and all of his family. Val Yikaret Mibet Yoav Zav. Zav is a seminal emission, Mitzora, leprosy. Umachzik Bapelech, the Nofel Bachera v'Chaser Lach. We should fall by the sword and lack bread. Now, the Medrash Rabbah explains, Hayusavim Kol Yisrael Shedavid Sivao Lahargo. Who is Asael? Asael is David's nephew. Right? Sruya is David's sister. Yoav ben Sruya, Yoav is David's nephew. And Asael is another nephew. So Shaya Avner ben Dodoshel Sholaficha Ksiva Yikars Beis Yoav Zavu Mitzora. Amud David Vikilalis Yoav. He was cursing Yoav. Viadu Kol Yisrael Shlahaya Mi David Vinis Paisu. The Jewish people realized that the death of Avner was not, David didn't have any hand in it, and they forgave him. Vitziva l'shlomo b'noshe aragoto. Shaya Yoav ben Achosa shel David. Eventually, this is the Haftorah of Parshas Vayechi. In David's last will and testament to Shlomo Melech, he tells him, make sure Yoav doesn't go to the grave easily, that he goes to the grave quickly. Now,
So David admitted at the end of his life to Shlomo that he had made a mistake in his judgment of Avner, and he's now changing and instructing Shlomo to make sure he kills Avner.
No. Yoav.
Yoav, rather, sorry, Yoav.
Well, you see right away, David is extremely upset at Yoav for killing Avner. And listen to this medrash in Medrash Rabbah. Even though David is commanding his son to kill Yoav, he still wants him to have a oilam haba. Kivan shabike Shlomo l'aragoso. Omer Yoav levnayu. Yoav said to one of Shlomo Melech's people, Lechem or l'Shlomo al tadinenu b'shnei dinim. Don't punish me twice. Im targeni tol mali aklol shekalanu David avicha. If you're going to kill me, remove the curses that your father David placed on me. And im lav, if you're not going to kill me, then leave me with the klolos. But why should I get both? Miyad vayomer lamelech aseh kasher diber ufagav ukvarto. So he said, he agreed, he killed him. He killed him, and I guess he removed the klolos. Then says Amar Rav Yehuda, kol ha-klolos shekilo David es Yoav, niskaimo bizar shel David. All of these klolos ended up affecting all of David's and children. V'cheinita b'Sanhedrin memches. Amar Rav Amarav, kol klolos shekilo David es Yoav, niskaimo bizar shel David. And the Radak brings it. Because really he shouldn't have cursed Yoav, because eventually he knows he's going to tell Shlomo Melech he's going to kill him. This is, and the Chaynasa, so the Radak understands that David shouldn't have done both, either curse him or kill him. Now, where do we see that this happened? So Rechavam HaMelech became a Zav. Uziyahu HaMelech became a Mitzora. Asa was a Machzik Bapelach. Yoshio died by the sword, and Yoyachin didn't have bread. And why is it that when people curse, it comes back to himself? Says the Maral, Lemada v'doima zorik even b'koisel shalavonim. You take a stone and you throw it against a stone wall. What happens? The stone bounces back and hits you. You have to be careful with what you say and not issue klolos. Says Pasuk Lamed, the Yoav Avishai Achiv Hargul Avner. Yoav and his brother Avishai killed Avner. Allah he meet at Asael Achiem beGivon b'Milchama, because Avner killed him in Givon. Lamed Aleph. Vayomer David el Yoav, ve'el kol ha'am asher ito. David commands everybody, Kiru bigdechem, tear your clothing in Avelis for the death of Avner. V'chigru sakim, wear sack. V'siftu lifnei Avner, give levias for Avner. V'amelech David himself, holech achrei amita. Even though he's a melech, he's walking after the coffin. Why? Lemandata kol shlo nesta batzoso. He wanted to make sure Klal Yisrael understood this wasn't done at his command. Now, the Gemara in Sanhedrin Chaf Amud Aleph, Melech meis lo meis. The king loses a relative. Eino yotze mi Pesach Platron Shalom. He doesn't go out to the funeral. He stays in his palace. Rabbi Yehoyim rotze latze sachramita yotze. If he wants, he can go. Why? Sheken matzinu b'David. Sheyotzra achramitosa shalavner. From this pasuk. Then it says, Ton Rabbonon, Lokam shenoagu noshim lotze sachramita yotzos. If there was a minhag that women would follow the coffin, they would go. If after it. If the minhag is lifnei amita yotzos. If they walk in front of it, that's the minhag. Whatever the minhag is, they do. However, Rabbi Yehuda Omer lo yadam noshim lifnei amita yotzos. No. Women always go in front. Shekein matzinu b'David sheyatzra chamitosa shalavner. David wouldn't go there if there were women. Must be the women are in front. He did it to cause the people not to be choshid in him that he had anything to do with Avner's death. Now, what kind of kavod malchus is this? So David calculated. Kivin also came sayam. He did it to make the people happy. In order to unify Klal Yisrael through these actions, it's a greater kavod malchus, and therefore there would be no more milchama between Yehuda and Israel, showing the people that it was not correct to kill Avner. Vayikberu et Avner b'Chevron. They buried Avner in Chevron. Vayisam Melech et kolo. Melech cried. Vayevkel kever aviv vayivku kol ha'am. So you see, David went to great lengths because of this murder. Vayikonena Melech el Avner vayomar. He makes a kina. He speaks a eulogy. Hakmot naval yamut Avner. How bad is it, the death of Avner? Yadecha lo asurot. Your hands were not bound. Vraglecha lo nechashtimu gashu. Your legs were not tied. Kinfol ifnei bnei avlo nafal. You fell in front of Rishoim. Vayasifu kol am livkot alav. So, Machloikes, the Abarbanel says, David is praising Avner's midos. He shouldn't have died this way. He never did anything bad with his hands and his feet in his life. So the Abarbanel sort of darshans. And the Akedas Yitzchak says that the Kina reflects that nobody found any reasons for Avner to be killed in this fashion. And the Al-Sheikh says that the Bnei Avla are the people of the generation. Now, what about all these reasons we brought that Chazal say Avner deserved to be killed? So, the way Rashi and Abarbanel say the Bnei Avla is Yoav and Avishai, we understand that Avner was not Mechuyev Misa B'dei Adam, was not supposed to be killed by Bezdin, and these Bnei Avla didn't have reshus to kill him. the Alshich who said the Bnei Avlo, the Bnei Ador, and their sin caused Avner. It's a problem because Avner also had Averis that were mentioned. But maybe David is emphasizing the tzidkis of Avner, again, to show that David was not sort of in the eights of killing David and killing Avner. Lamed.
Ernie, just one thing. It's interesting to see that that David is speaking directly to Avner, and from here comes the custom that if you at a hesped, you many people speak directly to the lifter.
They do, but if he's dead, how can I hear?
Well, his neshama hears.
The neshama, yeah, obviously that's one. You know, as you praise somebody at the hesped, I've seen people speak directly to the mace. Maybe that's where the minute comes from the way David is addressing him here.
Right.
Hmm?
33.
The people really thought that David was behind the killing of Avner. So all of these steps that he took, the klolas, the big hesped, is to show the people that he was not involved. Vayavo kol ha'am la'avrot David lechem ba'od hayom. This is like a Sudas of the people came to break bread with David, like the Sudas of when you come back from the cemetery, you have a Suda. Vayishava David Laimor. Ko yaseli Elokim v'cho Yosif. Kim lifnei bo Hashem eshetam lechem al kol me'uma. I'm not going to eat anything. He took a vow of kindness because of the death of Avner. Rashi says, brings the medrash, B'tchila lachroisoi. The people came initially because they wanted to kill David, because that he was part of the killing of Avner. Later on, they understood that it was without David HaMelech that he was killed. That's why they ate the Suda with him. Now, we learn a number of halachos about Avelis from this pasuk. It says in the Tosefta, Melech Yisrael ein oimed b'shur lisnachim. We all make, when we leave the cemetery, 2 rows are made, and the Avel walks between the rows, and we say Amokim Yinachim. A Melech does not do that. He also ein oimed b'shur lisnachim achem. He doesn't stand in a shura. It's not the covenant of the Melech to do this. Vein hoylech lavroy seitz lacherim. He doesn't go to other people, but people can go to the Melech. We learn this from this pasuk. The Mordechai in Moed Katan says, Motzasi b'shem Rabbeinu Yontov, Shomer b'shem Rabbeinu Tam, Shem ichru lecho yom rishon ad halayla, de'ein mavrin balayla. If the first day when they came back from they didn't eat, you don't eat at night. You got to eat in the daytime. Because it says, "Vayavo kol ha'am lavrot David lechem ba'od hayom." Still has to be daylight. Now, the Aruch HaShulchan brings, Nira da'ikar hu alechem, the main issue is the bread. Ovel osir lechem lechem mishalo, ayin sham. And an ovel has to be brought bread from somebody else. He can't eat his own bread. Aval tavshilin yochol lechol mishalo. But other cooked foods, the ovel can eat from what he has. The chen haminig. Shemevim la ovel lechem ubeitzim bilvad. What you bring to the ovel are bread and eggs. Because you see from this pasuk, vayavo kol ha'am lavrot David lechem. They brought him bread. That's the Aruch HaShulchan brings this pasuk as well. The Ramah in Yoreh Deah, Shinai and Daled. Mi sherotze lachmel atzmo lisabel al mi she'en tzarich. Olil bo shchor mal krovo. Ein moichem, if somebody wants to have avelis on somebody, he's not mechuyev to do it. You don't protest. Even if you have a best friend, and if you want to be mitztayer, wearing black, you can't. So we see, because Avner was not related to David, but he accepted this din of Sudas Avrah. Loim dim, says the Ramosh, Yuchal Adam Linog Avelos Al Mishen Mechuyev Allah. So a number of very interesting halachas in dinim avelis because of these episodes. Lamed Vav. The people were satisfied. They now understand that this not come from David. He told his servants, Avner was a very important person who was tried to make shalom and tried to bring Klal Yisrael to me. And who's the Sarva Gadol? So the Kilas Yaakov said it refers to Ishboshet because it's two people, Avner and Ishboshet. Once Avner is killed, Ishboshet has no power. So that's the Sarva Gadol. V'anochi hayom rachu mashuach melech. Now, why then? So I am now the anointed king. V'anashim ha'ele b'nei Tzuya koshim mimeni. Look at this. The sons of Tzuya, Yoav and Avishai, are stronger than me. Yishalem Hashem lo se'ara karaso. Hashem will pay them back. So why didn't David kill Yoav? Must be he didn't think he had the strength at this time to do it. He's leaving it to Shamayim. Now later on in another 15 prakim, Shimi ben Gera is going to curse David HaMelech. He's going to call David Isha Damim v'Isha Blial. And the Radak says, Shechashdu b'dmei Ishboishes v'Avner. Avner now has been killed. We're going to see soon the death of Ishboshes. And it seems like Klal Yisrael blamed David HaMelech for both of these deaths. Kasha. How could later on Shimi ben Gera accuse him of that? Everybody believed that David did not do it. Why later on is Shimi ben Gera, who we're going to see is a Gadol Ador? Why are they choshid there when they're not choshid now? So the Parshas Drachim explains very simply. Now they don't know. They don't accuse that later on there were more rumors. One of the things is David didn't kill Yoav. If really he was upset about the death of, he should have killed Yoav. So one of the reasons perhaps that there was still a chashash that David was behind this because not killing Yoav. Now, did Yoav deserve Misas Bezdin? No. Because when he killed Yoav, there weren't Eidim, there was Nasra. However, the Melech can kill him. So why didn't? So he didn't. He gave the din to Shemayim. And so just because Bezdin can't kill him, why couldn't David kill him? So the Radak in Melachim will explain where he gives the tzavah to Shlomo Melech to kill Yoav. That there he says, Shaya Yoav mechuyev misas Bezdin. Ach mitama lo rotza Yoav shlo yahareg kach kadeshi kaver bekivre avoisa. He wanted at least Yoav not to be killed by Bezdin, because then you wouldn't be buried in the ancestral plot. So he let Shlomo kill him, which would be and the Griza Levi says, Yov haya mechuyev misas bezdin on killing Avner. So why didn't the Sanhedrin kill Yoav? Bishma David lo ratza largo midin melech mishum shayi remehem. The pasuk says he was afraid of them. But how come Bezdin didn't kill him? So since David has a new kingdom, he didn't want, again, civil war between the Yehuda people. So he wanted to organize his kingdom as much as Achdus as possible. That's why he didn't kill Yoav. Now, let's learn, because we talked about Ish Boshet. Let's see if we can learn Perek Dalet. Vaishma ben Shaul kimet Avner bechevron. The son of Shaul, Ish Boshet, heard that Avner died. Vayirpu yadav, and of course his hands became weak. Now, even though he might have been happy with the death of Avner, because remember, he thought that Avner was revolting against him. But now he understands that he's going to be very weak from a military point of view. Also, V'chol Yisrael nivalu. Bnei Yisrael were, either there was confusion, the way the Abarbanel says the word nivalu, or they were afraid, because just like Avner was killed, maybe David is going to take Nakama on all the people that fought against him. It's only now Ish Boshet is going to be killed, murdered, and David HaMelech is going to make sure that those murderers are killed. Now they know clearly, retroactively, that David was free of the blood of Avner as well. Then the Klal Yisrael came together to make him king. These processes are part of the unification process behind David HaMelech's kingship. The confusion was because people thought that David should kill Yoav. The fact that he didn't made them suspicious. Pasuk Bezu Shnei Anoshim Sari Gdudim Hayu Ben Shaul. There were two officers who were in the army of Ishboshet. Shema Echad Ba'anav Shema Shanit Rechav. Bnei Rimona be'erotim ibnei Binyamin. They were Binyamites. Kigam be'erot techashev al Binyamin. This area be'erot was in Binyamin. Vayivrechu be'erotim gitaima. The people from Beirut ran away to Gat during the battles with Plishtim for protection. Vayusham garim arayom hazeh. Up until this time, they were living there. Then Yonatan ben Shaul, the grandson of Shaul, right? Ben Nechei Raglayim. He had a son who had broken legs. So he didn't walk well. Ben Chomesh Shonim haya b'vo Shmuel Shaul v'Yonatan miYisrael. He was 5 years old when the word came that Yonatan and Israel died. Vatisa'eu omnoso, so the caretaker of the child took him. The name of the child was Mepiboshet. Now, what are we bringing Mepiboshet in here all of a sudden? That Ish Boshet is going to be killed. Why do we need to know about Mepiboshet, the grandson of Shaul? Rashi says, Monav olech ech nishbas malchus mibei Shaul. Step by step, the kingdom is being removed from the house of Shaul. Hu uvan of Nerogu. Shaul, his sons were killed. V'zeh nishar hagu al mishkavo. Ishbosh is going to be killed lying in his bed. Ubno shel Yonasan nafal vayfasech. The grandson of Shaul, son Yonasan, is lame. It shows the destruction of Malchus Shaul. Nothing is left. just this Nebuch, this grandson who can barely walk. Now, before the Al-Sheikh explains that before we go into the murder of Ishboshet, the Navi is telling us, Omer Lanu, Ki Leonatan ben Shol ben Necheraglayim, Loma, Ki Zeni Shar Levuti Karet Shem Beit Shol Min Olam. We know they're descendants of Shol. Who's the most famous one? Ushmo Mordechai ben Yair ben Kish ben Shimi Ish Yemini. He's also part of he's from Shimi, but he's also from Shol. So they want to show us that the house of Shol is not completely wiped out. The Vilti Korish Shem Beit Shol Min Olam. Umimenu Nimshach Zaro. Kimeforish B'divrei Yomim. Shachar Shmona Arba B'nei Shol. Achar Shmona Arba B'nei Shol. Omer. After he mentions the 4 sons of Bnei Shol, Omar Ven Yonasan, Meriv Baal Shum Piboshes. All the other Doras come from him. That's why Mepiboshes is brought in here to remind us that even with the death of Ishboshet, we're not going to lose out on all of the Zera of Shol HaMelech. Okay, we'll start. Well, that's a good start. Pasuk Dalid, Perek Dalid, and we're going to learn Perek Hey as well next week. We'll finish Dalid and we'll do Perek Hey. Everything is same time next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Shkaya, Benny.
Anybody like to comments?
Covered a lot of stuff. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good week.